Hello everyone, it's Tanya Cole here. I'm back for Tanya's Creativity Tips Tuesday. It's a little bit later than I'd planned because it's school holidays, so my boys are still making a noise in their bedrooms, but they're in bed, so hopefully you won't hear them from here. If you pop on, if you're there, say hello, leave me a comment or any questions. So I'm really excited because Laura C from last week left a question to chat about, and it gives me something to get going with this. So Laura's question was, how would you set up a space for yourself when your home is already crowded? So basically, how will she make room for her creativity in her life in a house where she's got a family and kids and not a set creativity space for her? So Laura, I actually ended up writing notes down because I just got so many ideas for you. But one of the coolest things I saw on Pinterest was somebody had just pulled the door off like a linen cupboard that's just in the hallway. So it's just a single door and then the shelving. And they removed the door and just put a curtain across, and they put one little single shelf and a little roll under chair that went under that shelf, and then inside the linen cupboard were all these little nooks where she could put little journals and books, or like washi tape or different supplies. Or if you're a sewer, hi Sarah, I just saw you're on. If you're a sewer, it's another little spot for someone to just set up a little sewing station or something like that. So there's always ways and means if you don't have your dedicated creativity space or studio. If you're doing stuff around the kitchen, you can get one of those really cool IKEA trolleys and have it all stacked, and it may roll underneath your kitchen table, or it can just be next to your kitchen bench, and you can have all that stacked with all of your stuff that inspires you. So you can have a whole bunch of paper, like computer paper, that the kids can be scribbling on, as well as yourself, just for creative ideas and little scribble drawings that you can develop later. Have some already pre-cut watercolour pages and sketchbook paper, and then obviously a caddy of pencils and markers and watercolour pencils. So you just have it already there, and when you're going through past the kitchen throughout the day, it's there looking at you and inspiring you and inviting you to come to it. And when you get 5 minutes, when you sit down and have a cuppa or something, you can just do a quick doodle at the table. Hi Catherine. I was just saying that Laura C left me a question from last week saying, how would you set up a space for yourself when your home is already crowded? So Catherine, if you've got any suggestions, feel free to comment and weigh in with your ideas. That'd be great. And the other thing is, like, creativity gets expressed in so many ways. So even if you physically can't get to your paint table or your art journal or your sewing machine because your demands are elsewhere, your creativity is still going on with your thinking and your ideas. So, us women are amazing. We can multitask, that we can be preparing lunch for the kids and listening to their mums and still have another thought going on the side for ourselves and planning. And creativity is just this ongoing sort of journey, so that you're crystallizing or you're incubating ideas and you're feeding creativity even when you're not actively, in creative expression. So it's part of it is just us getting away from our own rigid thinking that if we're not creating, we think we're not being creative, but we're all creative beings and we can tap into it at any time. I've got to take my glasses off. What's that, Catherine? I like a nice light corner with a trolley for your stuff. Yeah, so that's what I was saying, like those IKEA trolleys are really cool, that you can just sort of roll from room to room, but you could easily pop it in the kitchen next to the kitchen bench. A fold down easel, yep, awesome. And those desktop easels as well. They're really portable, so that's another idea. So the other thing Laura asked was, how do you prioritize what to keep for now and what to get rid of to make space for the life you want to live? Yeah, I find that one a really interesting question because I'm a bit of a hoarder. I get very attached to the memories of items and things. But I know one thing that's really popular at the moment to do is, if you look around and you're feeling overwhelmed with all the things that you've got, whether they're part of a passion that you've had and you've collected things, is to actually hold the item and decide how it makes you feel, as opposed to thinking it through. So actually, does it make you feel joyful? And trusting your intuition to know whether it's meant to be in your life, or can you let go of it. And one of the other things I love, was that, Catherine? Yes to what? One of the things I love too is that when you get so many gems and pearls from whatever your creative expression is. So, if you're a muser, and I just saw my cousin Andy, hi Andy, pop on, or you're an actor, or you're a singer, or you're an artist, or however you express your creative gifts, there are always pearls of how you approach that creative expression you can use in everyday aspects of your life. So like Laura's question about how do you make space for the things that you want in your life and the way that you want to live, is that if you let go of things, you can trust that you can do it again. So, if you've shown this creative expression, or you've made this expressive creative piece, knowing that you can do that again at any time kind of helps you let go and be less attached to things. So, Laura, I'm not sure if that helps answer your questions, but if I've answered it in a slightly different slant, then feel free to comment later, and we can discuss that further. Thanks, Catherine. Yes to all your stuff. Hi, Chloe. So tonight I'm just chatting about more creative tips and living creatively and creative living. And I answered Laura's question, but I had some other little things that I jotted down too. One of the biggest things that blocks us to expressing ourselves creatively and connecting with our creativity is permission. And usually that permission has been blocked from a certain stage in our life. And that might be in the school system, it might be from well-meaning parents, or, a girlfriend or a boyfriend or someone at some point that we've latched on and thought that our creativity in a particular way that we're expressing it isn't good enough, like it's not meeting that standard as such. And so we allow other people around us and society to withdraw permission for us to be creative. And often when we start to get the inkling in our later years, when we're really feeling our soul is telling us that it needs to be expressing its creativity, we bring back in all those old voices of our parents or society, and we make them our own, and we still prevent ourselves from giving ourselves permission to be creative. So I think that's the biggest thing, is like exploring where you feel blocked with being creative and creative expression. And once you've given yourself permission, all it is your willingness, and then immersing yourself in a creative act will just open the floodgates, so it gets much easier. Oh, okay, the reception's breaking up a bit, is it, Catherine? Thank you for letting me know. So that's probably a really important thing for a lot of people, is just giving yourself permission. A lot of us make time for physical exercise and are disciplined in that area. People make time for prayer in their spiritual nurturing. Creativity is no different for our overall wholeness and health. And so it is something that's really important for us to prioritise as much as anything else. So if we can kind of view it in that way, then it makes it more accessible for us, and also makes us more inclined to make the time to be creative more often. I hope you're all still there and I've still got the reception going. Just give me another little thumbs up, Catherine, if I'm connected, because I'm not sure if this is getting out there. And a few other ideas too for Laura, was one of the things I do is I can't always be locked away in my studio doing my big messy painting. Oh, great. Thanks, Catherine. So I've adapted things, and I do couch painting. So I have my little small tubes of paint, and I'll paint in my journal with it on my lap, and I'll have a water-filled water brush. So I can be doing it on the couch while hubby's watching TV. There's a whole load of ways that you can grade creative or art making and creativity, so that you really get into your everyday wherever you can do it. You like that idea? My youngest came in, Catherine, and I was sitting on the couch with paints, and went, "Ma, you're painting on the couch." And I said, "Oh, Mummy's being very careful." Hi, Jules. Other ideas. So I was just talking about always having blank paper around, computer paper, sketchbook paper, watercolor paper, all pre-cut, and probably just like, how you get those letter holders that you can have by the phone. They used to have them like as a bill holder where you'd put all your letters or your mail when you came in at the end of the day. They're great just to have a whole wad of computer paper sitting in there and cut up watercolor paper. And pens and pencils and that already there, and that way, like if you're stuck on the phone or you've got these creativity stations sort of set up all around the house, and you're setting yourself up for creative opportunity. What's that, Catherine? You could use one of those laptop tables. Are they those they've got a name, haven't they? I can't think what they are. Like a stable table. That you can sit in front of the TV and eat your meal on. You can use that for your art journal or small drawings and that sort of thing. And that's made me think of something else, is some of the really great masters and artists of years gone by would work in miniatures or on a small scale, and you can choose to do that as well. So you could create a whole series of paintings that are miniatures, or you could start off just with a lot of index cards that you can do drawings on, and then paint as well. And that way you're not putting too much pressure on yourself or expectation that you're going to create these massive paintings. And it's much better if you just sit down every night and you've done one small painting than gone the whole week putting it off, because there's not that big chunk of time that you're going to find yourself in your art room or whatever. So you can definitely trick your muse that way by just in advance sort of preparing your space in your home, sort of just always have that opportunity to grab things easily to create. And the other thing was digital media. So iPads and laptops, you can sit in front of the TV with your spouse or whatever, and you can use some of those really, really great iPad apps now that you can draw and paint, and then you can copy that image over to your desktop computer and explore it further later. But it's all part of that creative journey, from all aspects of just thinking about it, doing it in all different media, and using your creativity basically to come up with all the different ways that you can make your art more accessible. So it's circular, and there's lots of layers to it. And lying in bed at night, you're still using your creativity when you're lying in bed and planning what art materials you're going to go and buy. So once you've opened to that, it will just sort of run on its own accord. Hi, Lulu. So just about getting to the end of tonight's Tanya's creativity tips. But just knowing that creativity and our creative energy is a force. It's a force that's within all of us. and it's accessible to all of us, and it's usually just our mind and our attitude that has shut it down and not enabled us to feel as though it's accessible. But if people viewed it in that way, and I talk about creative muscle, like as you would exercise your physical muscles, that real importance and need to exercise our creativity muscles as well. So Catherine's just said, I could just imagine you thinking about art materials in bed. Yes, I do. I plan my trip to Jackson's when I'm lying in bed, and I often grab my phone again and update my little shopping list. And it's I love how that whole creative process is circular, and it feeds off itself and it feeds into itself, and that's where, once you open that floodgate, you could be working a day job in something else, but the mundane and the ordinary and your interactions in your day job can feed into your creativity in a big way. It's putting the art into the everyday of your life and then expressing that. So nothing has to be on hold. So if you've got dreams of working as an artist or doing art making more of a proportion of your time than your day job, you just bring both into each other, and it becomes an internal creative language of yours and your own unique expression. So the biggest thing is just pushing down those blocks and those that segmentation in our brain that thinks that, now I'm going to my day job and I'm, this is how I'm performing. I'm not creative, but you are. You bring your creativity to everything that you do. Hi, Jessica. Thank you. I'm just coming to the end. So I've answered a question from Laura C. from last week. And if anyone else has any questions or suggestions for me to talk about for next Tuesday, I would love it, and just leave me a comment. Because I got really excited when I got that last suggestion, and I thought about it all week. So it definitely fed into my creativity and pushed me to really explore creative ideas for Laura. And I'm sure I've missed some of them because I wrote lots and lots of notes. And that's the other thing. I brought this to show her is I have my tackle box sort of travel container of art supplies that I take from my art room into my lounge room. So I've set that up so that I can do particular art journaling sort of exercises with the supplies that are in that. And I would probably take that on an overnight trip as well. So you're going to have a heap of those kits set up for different sorts of things that you do in your life. If you go away on a business trip, you can have a special bag that you've got already kitted out that's got art journals and all that sort of thing in it. So, and then I've got this one as well, which is like creative inspiration box that's got a heap of mixed media, like vintage music paper and book paper, and I've got my little kit of like a small glue and everything in there as well. So you can make it really easy for yourself to, do your creativity whenever you feel like it. Okay, I'm going to finish up here. Thanks for dropping in and saying hi. And as I said, if you've got any thoughts or ideas or any areas in your life where you're feeling stuck creatively, leave me a comment or question or any topic that you want to talk about that helps to sort of bring your creativity out more. I would love to hear from you. All right, thanks again. I'll see you next week. See ya.